What's happening, Priceline Nation and NutraBio BioCrew fans? For everyone who wasn't able to make it to the BioCrew Barbecue Bash, we're gonna do a plant tour. Mike, here the flavorist. This is the man behind all the flavors. We have another video talking about the root beer float. Anyway, Mike is getting me suited up here because we are entering a clean room environment. So tell me, what do I have to do? Obviously, I gotta put this on.
Well, first of all, we want to make sure that everything is, you put that on. And we're gonna get you, then we're gonna have to get you sanitized to the hand washing station. We just gotta make sure you don't have any jewelry or anything that might potentially,
So,
I'm sorry.
Sorry, sorry, Jill.
You have to, that's why you don't have
Now you could tape it up, I think, but yeah, the ring comes off.
anything that might potentially fall into the products, we avoid at any cost. So
Exactly. So you
it's
brought that
gotta be
all the way?
all the way up.
Now, do I have to button my polo shirt all the way up over here?
No, that's just
oh,
the
this is
lateral.
gonna go over, yeah. All right, and then I assume I'm gonna have to get stuff over my shoes.
Yes.
This is actually the second time I've done a plant tour. The last one was in 2016, so a lot of things have changed. We can link back to those videos, but this is what's current here in 2019. It is August 12th of 2019 for reference.
Okay, so basically we have like this, the 6 steps to follow, for the proper hand washing. So you gotta follow it. First one is wet hands with warm water. Another sensor is in
There we go, yeah. Exactly. Okay. Use enough soap. Yeah, the lather, all automatic.
Yep, the sensor.
All right. Wash through. Now it's supposed to rub for 15 to 20 seconds, so let's keep going here.
Okay, so let me get you the booties.
Excellent.
So in your case, you're gonna have to wear the hairnet and beard net.
Right.
So let me get you.
I should have shaved, so I'd have to do that. This is.
Okay, this is-
So since it's a Monday, this production's running. Like I'm looking right here. I can tell you for a fact, maybe we should show it. They do put the scooper on top. There it is, proof, picture proof. The scoop goes on top. All right.
Okay, let me get you, you also gotta have this mask. Yeah, you're good right there?
All right.
So he's fully. All right, yes, we're good.
All right, here's the man himself, Mark Glazier. Mark, thanks so much for having me here, for everything
Absolutely.
here. We just showed proof that the scooper does go on top.
So now we're about to enter the production area, which would normally be a GMP sanitized area. This is a viewing hallway that actually guests can walk through or staff can walk through and see into a lot of the rooms. So we've totally gowned up here today, which means we have our hair, and I think you already went through that process.
Right.
We did it kind of as a, just for fun really, because the facility is not yet in full production mode. It's going to be in the next day or so. So you'll see me as we walk through here. I will actually be able to take my mask down and talk a little bit. Under normal circumstances, we can't do that.
Right.
But we're gonna walk you through as if it's a normal production day. We actually have a couple rooms open that we're gonna take you in that normally when your last time you were here, you were not allowed to go into the rooms.
Right.
But since we're not in production yet, we're gonna actually take you into a room. We set up some maltodextrin, one of the capsule areas,
Nice.
so that you can see it actually run. So this is kind of like a practice run through the facility. I think it'll be fully operational in 1 or 2 days from now.
Excellent. I'm keeping it on. This is Mike Roberto with PriceFlow, and I'm here with Master Mark Glazier of NutraBio. It's been a wild weekend. I gotta ask you for one more plant tour, and right now we're in the testing room, I believe. So I'd like to know kind of the difference, how NutraBio does things here without compromise, because that's one of your hashtags. So where are we right now, and what would happen in this room?
So this is our lab. It's not fully functional yet. It's just being finished up this week. The whole facility was just renovated. We spent close to $500,000 in the last 8 weeks doing a GMP quality improvement to the company. And it's important to know we weren't in any issues prior. We just came off a 3-week FDA GMP audit. and we had no 483s at all in that audit.
Awesome, congratulations.
Which means, you know, it was clean. You can't say you're certified or you passed, because there's no passing of an FDA, so I don't want to imply that at all. But as soon as we did that, a month later, we started this scheduled renovation. All of a sudden, everybody in social media started saying, uh-oh, NutraBio got in trouble in that audit, now they're rebuilding, which is not true at all.
No, you have been talking about this a long time. You needed to expand, right?
Yeah, well, this wasn't really an expansion. We didn't take any more space. We just took we're taking the facility from where it was, which was total beyond GMP at that point, and took it to a whole new level, replacing floors and walls and ceilings and air handlers and everything in here. Just almost getting it toward a pharmaceutical approach to manufacturing dietary supplements. So the correct term is CGMP, current good manufacturing practices. That's 21 CFR 111. We renamed it BGMP, beyond good manufacturing practices. So we didn't redo this whole facility by, you know, desperation. We did it because we wanted our customers to know that we're above, you know, what the minimum standards are that government regulations are out there, and we're always looking to improve, to make it better, and to take this to the next level, and that's what we just did here.
Excellent.
So right now you're in the new lab that's not fully functional, but will be within 2 days. I mean, one of the most important things to me is the groundwork, the foundation, and that's the raw material.
Yep.
So you can build the house as beautiful as you want, you can make it as fancy as you want on the outside. If it doesn't have a strong foundation, it's falling. And that's what the raw ingredients are.
Right.
It's also the biggest challenge I have in anything I do here. With all that we do and what our vendors understand about us, we still reject between 8 and 11% of all raw materials.
And they know you're testing it. That blows my mind.
They know we're going to reject it. We have contracts with them that they have to pay for it to go back. But there's still games that they play there. They change their specifications. They send us a CFO. We have a specification. All of a sudden, their new batch doesn't match specifications, so they change the specification. Like, no, that's a different product. You can't give us something under spec and then just change your C of A to make the spec wider. We don't allow any of that. So our biggest challenge is raw materials coming in, the foundation of everything we do here. So this lab is set up for basically the first level of testing. So what we first have to do is qualify every raw material manufacturer and vendor. We might have to visit them, we might send consultants out to visit them, we have to see what their standards are. Once that process is done and they are qualified, we qualify the raw material. So we'll get in samples of that raw material, we'll get in all the documentations from non-GMO to C of A's to specification sheets to kosher certificate, it has to be, everything. We have to check and ensure that those are all legit, and they get faked a lot. Documents. We then have to test that raw material, and we do some testing in-house, but most of that testing is done third-party: purity, potency, composition, identity, heavy metals, microbial, and we have to make sure that that raw material meets 2 specifications. Their own specification, because we have to prove out that their C of A actually is real, and then it has to meet our specification. If that material meets all these specifications to third-party testing, that only allows our purchasing agent to purchase the material. Once they purchase that material, every single batch, every single lot as it comes off the truck goes into a quarantine warehouse, and it stays there. We take a sample and a clean room of that. It comes into this lab. The first step of us is using this system here, which is FTNIR, Fourier Transfer Near Infrared Spectroscopy. These 2 units alone cost us about $200,000. But more important than that, it costs us about $1 million over the first year to year and a half.
You got to get all of it,
to build up the libraries, to get all of the information into these, so it can understand the difference between creatine and leucine and lysine and all that. This is used as a qualitative method, and it's just telling us what the product is. Is it creatine? Is it leucine? Is it isoleucine? So in this lab, we do qualitative testing. We want to know, okay, the product came in, the ingredient came in. What is it? This will tell us, yes, it is creatine within a certain margin. We'll then do organoleptic testing here, maybe pH, maybe doing particle size analysis, a whole bunch of things in here. If it passes that base qualitative testing, it then goes off to a third-party independent lab where it goes for quantitative testing. So HPLC, whatever type of testing we have to do to make sure that that product is the exact specification that we need. Okay, we have a chemist in here who runs our lab. I think we have 6 people in QA/QC. She has a PhD, and she is the only one who can sign off. So once we get everything from microbial, heavy metals, to HPLC, all back from our third-party lab, if everything passes specification, if everything matches our specification, everything internally matches specification, then we're looking at individual containers. So while it's off testing, these machines will be testing containers within that batch.
Now you get a barrel in, and that barrel is quarantined until...
Right, because let's say there's 20 barrels there. we pull a sample of one barrel from one lot, and we send it out for testing. How do we know the rest of them aren't mixed up? So what we'll do is we'll then test those barrels as well, and that's all done in FTNAR. We want to make sure a label wasn't messed up or someone's not playing games with us. So while that's going external, we're still doing testing in-house. So it's a fairly vigorous process, and it's beyond what I say industry standard, because the FDA allows the industry standard of taking that ingredient, testing it once, making sure it matches the C of A of the manufacturer. Then they test it a second and third time. Once you test it 3 times, it's considered scientifically validated, and then you can allow that for the next year or so. And then if companies do that, and that's the industry standard, then you're just trusting that this company is
that's
tested.
not how it always
So
works.
that's why we call it BGMP, Beyond Good Manufacturing Practices, because we're not going to allow that. And thank God we don't, because we reject so much material coming in here. It's absurd. So that's basically what we're doing in here, is we're taking the product, we're making sure that the foundation, the raw material, matches all specifications beyond GMP specification, because we want our customer to make sure that they get the best possible product for this.
Awesome. Okay, so then after that, time to hit the plant?
Time to hit the plant.
Let's do it.
So now we're out in the warehouse, so you don't have to be gowned up in here. This is what I was talking about earlier. This is our quarantine warehouse. Our dock is right over to the right. Any material that comes in here first goes into here. Once it's in here, it is quarantined. The material will be taken into a clean room. It'll be sampled. We'll test it in-house. Once we've passed it in-house, qualitative testing, it'll go to the third party like we talked about. Eventually, if it passes all qualification, we'll get a stamp that looks like this on it. This green stamp will be signed by the lab manager. She's the only one who can sign it. That means she has checked all specifications, all tests, everything passes, and now this can be released.
Right, these are just tubs.
Yeah, the production warehouse can now come in here and grab this whenever they want. If you look over here, you'll see there's nothing on these yet. These have not been tested yet or sampled. If you look at some capsules over here, you start to see their tag. So anything that comes in contact with what somebody's going to eat, not just the powder or the capsule, the bottle, the scoop, the lid, all of that has to be tested to make sure it doesn't have any heavy metals or whatever's in there for contamination purposes. So that all comes into here. Then after that, you see another warehouse down here. That is pretty much finished product. So the same process happens. When it comes off the line, it's boxed up, it goes into that warehouse. It doesn't go to our shipping department yet, because now we have to take the retained samples from there. One gets put into storage for a length of time in case we ever need to test it. A second sample goes into the lab. We do internal testing, send it out to third-party testing.
Yeah, that's what we see on checkmysubs.com.
Yeah, purity, potency, identity, all that is being composition is being tested for. Then what we do is we take that testing and we put it online so the consumer can see what's actually made up.
Exactly.
So for us, it's all a matter of not just trusting what we say we do, but validating what we say we do. You can actually take the bottle you purchase, look at the lot number underneath, put it in online on our website or checkmysubs.com, and see the third-party analysis of that.
How long do you said you store one of the tubs for future in case you need it? How long do you keep them for?
Well, the lab tubs are temporary, but the retained sample I think is not high. I think it's 3 years or 1 year past expiration date.
That makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
You'd have to ask our lab for that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So yeah, we have to all keep that in a properly maintained temperature room that's going to be normal to what it'd be on the outside. And they all have to be maintained in the same container as it's manufactured in. Right. To make sure that it's going to age the same way. So it's kind of a process.
There's a lot of work to this.
So now I showed you the quarantine warehouse. This is the production warehouse. Once it's been tested and QC has approved it, now it's allowed to be taken into here. So you can see everything in here, somewhere on it is going to have this QC approved label. So this is arginine. Arginine comes from Cuihaco, one of the best American manufacturers of amino acids there are. Wow. This tag says it has been tested internally, externally. All the information is on there. This can now go into production, and anything in this warehouse has gone through that process.
Right.
The next row will have pre-blend, so after they blend it might stage for a day or so here before it goes into production. So that's what's happening out here. On the other side, actually the warehouse that we just came through is where wholesale orders go out of, so pallets go out of there when we do it. This over here is Pick Pack Center. It's lunchtime, so nobody's here. Usually there's 5 or 6 stations here. We have over 300 SKUs, So the orders come in throughout the day. They're packaged in these bins, and then they go out the door. UPS picks up 2-3 times a day here. So it's kind of complicated with over 300 SKUs keeping track of it. But these 3 rows are all the different SKUs. This whole area actually is moving out very soon. So we need more space for production. So all this is going to become part of a production warehouse. We're getting a second building to house excess storage and to move our distribution center into.
All right, we are scrubbed back in, washed up. I'm all set up. This is where the tour begins, but where are we at right now?
Okay, right now we're just at the gowning area. So here's where we gown everything up to prevent any contamination or cross-contamination, something from the outside getting in. There's a double door here before we get into the main facility, so we'll be able to walk through this viewing area, and you don't have to be gowned to walk through this first section
Right.
here. And this is set up so that staff can walk through, see what's going on, watch. I get to walk through all the time without gowning up. Visitors can come through. Once we go in, you're not going to be allowed to go into any of the actual manufacturing rooms because you're a visitor. But we did keep 2 of them shut down out of sanitation mode, out of GMP mode. So this time we'll be able to go in and look at some of the machinery and show you what's going on.
Cool.
Okay? So you're going to have to put your guards up as we go through, but when we're in the hallway, you'll be able to pull it down if you want to talk for a moment because
Okay.
we're not going to go into any rooms at all. So come on through here. Just fell through here for a second. This is our encapsulation bottling area here. We'll show you the process of encapsulation, but this is the finished process where everything is bottled and goes through. Come on out here. So this is the edge of the GMP area here. So we went over.
It smells great over here, just gotta say.
Now I'm going to explain that in a moment, so ask me about that, okay? We went through what we do for the raw materials, and that's the important part that I said was the foundation of how we validate the raw material, validate the vendor. The next part is also very important. We'll show it to you later. There's a room on the other side of the facility called a pharmacy room. That's a fancy name for a weighing room. If you look at like an intra-workout or pre-workout, most of those powders are all white. You got to make sure that everything is done properly, they don't get confused. So we have a 5-check system just in that pharmacy room. And what happens is everything is computerized. They will get what's called a batch production record. And that's really a formulation, a recipe for everything, for every process that's going through to make that finished product. And what happens is the warehouse will pull the bulk material for that blend. It'll go into the pharmacy room. The pharmacy room has to do everything in duplication. So they will have to, let's say they're doing intra-workout. They'll take the receipt and they'll have to check all the lot numbers, the manufacturer numbers, the dates, the expiration dates, make sure it all matches. The second person has to duplicate that process and they have to sign off. They have to compare labels that we put on to labels on the boxes and make sure we didn't make any mistakes. Each person signs off. Then they go to the weighing. So they'll have to put it on a scale. The scales have to be validated daily before use, signed off and documented. Their scales have to be validated on a quarterly basis by an outside third-party company coming in. One person will weigh it. The second person will come and check the proper weights, check the scale, and they'll both sign off. And this is what they do step by step, ingredient by ingredient, throughout the process to make sure if somebody misses something, the other person is catching it. They're not allowed to have one person do it and the other person just sign down the sheet. They're literally going ingredient by ingredient, checking all documentation, checking all weights, documentation weights are going down the process. When that is all done, the quality assurance team comes in and spot checks the room. So they check sanitation records, weighing records, scale validation, then they'll spot check a bunch of the material by putting it back on the scale, make sure that's right, make sure the documents are right, make sure there's nothing foreign in that room that shouldn't be there. So they check off on that, then the balance of the material goes back into the warehouse. Now the warehouse has to then take what they got back, subtract what they gave them, and make sure it matches with the difference. So we gave them a 50 kilo drum of leucine, and they required 30 kilos.
But they're expecting 20.
Right, so this is the fourth check in the system. When that's all done, all the paperwork goes to the QA manager, and they've done, and then goes through everything and approve it all. So by the time it's finished in the pharmacy room, we know that the vendor has been manufacturer qualified, know the materials qualified, we test the material. We've now created a batch of all those materials in exact weights that we need them. They're all tagged, sealed, the whole thing is shrunk wrapped. There could be 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 pallets of it. And that unit as itself is the only thing that can come forward and go on into a blending room or a sifting room or a milling room, wherever it's going next. And that's not always the same in a lot of different companies. But this is a protein blending room. I've been into facilities where, let's say they're going to blend 10 lots of chocolate whey protein isolate. They'll bring a pallet of protein in here, and the guy will stand up there and say, oh, give me 10 bags. They're not even weighing the bag. They're trusting the 20 kilo on the side of the bag is true.
Oh, yeah.
We don't allow any of that.
Right.
The only thing that can go in here is what has been totally validated through that 5-check system. So we know what's in here is exactly what it's supposed to be. Now we have the issue of making sure we blend it properly. So that's going to be the next step.
Cool.
Okay.
What's going on here?
So now we've gone through the pharmacy area so you understand how it's weighed. We showed you a protein blender. This is the blender we use predominantly for amino acids. And blending is actually an art, not just an art form, but it's a physical science and people don't realize that. This blender is set up to, like I said, amino acids. And a lot of people say, I just buy a blender and I throw stuff in. But it's very specific. The process in here is the same as in the pharmacy room. There's got to be 2 people in here. And the product comes in, set up the same way that I told you about, all sealed up. Their direction to what they do. One ingredient goes in, one person checks it, verifies it, they reweigh it and put it in, the second person validates it, checks off and signs it. Each direction, what item put in first, second, third, fourth, how long the blend should be. We have to scientifically validate the length of every blend. It should be a 12-minute, a 14, a 15-minute blend. If we over blend that, and it's a 12-minute blend and we go to 15 minutes, that can segregate the material back out. So instead of having a full blend, we've now unblended it. So we have to validate that blend time per batch, per blender, per item in advance so we know exactly what it is. We can't change this batch from 500 kilos to 300 kilos without revalidating a blender time. Okay? We have to maintain this equipment because if this changes its revolutions per minute, it's slower than 12-minute blend or it overblends in 12 minutes. All that is part of the SOP procedures that we have here to maintain. So this blender is interesting. So the whole blending in this blender works in about a 6-inch area, okay? What happens is as the blender turns, the material in there comes up the sidewall. As it flips over, it crests like a wave. And as the wave comes down, the material intersects with the material going up. And in that small little area is where all the blending happens. So if I overfill this blender, all of that material will not crest the wave. It'll just go like one clump around. It doesn't blend. Right. If I underfill this, the material slides up the wall. When it goes over the top, it goes right back down. And what happens is, when you empty it out, if it's like, say, chocolate protein, it'll look like it's blended, but you will not have a homogeneous blend. You also have to look at this. Sometimes the last stage of the process, we might have to mill it, we might have to do a bunch of other things. We have to get particle size to the proper size. Because the particle size of the ingredients are wrong, this is not going to blend properly. Think about like salt and pepper in your hand. You shake it up and you let it out on a slippery table. The pepper lands, it stays where it is, and the salt rolls away. Well, in that barrel, when it empties out, and the material goes down to the barrel, some of the material will roll to the sides, and as it goes up, segregate. So now we'll have 2 different people with a tub of pre-workout. One has 500 milligrams of caffeine, and the other one has 200. We have to make sure it's a homogeneous blend. So there's a lot of science we have to do for particle size, for blend time, for everything we're doing to make sure what comes out of that blender is exactly what it's supposed to do. And then we'll have to test the product in the blender by taking, usually, I don't know on this one, I think it's 3, high, left, mid-center, right, low, putting that into FTNAR on a qualitative basis and see if those 3 match each other on a spectrograph.
That makes you think, like when other manufacturers are willing to do very small batches, it doesn't always seem to make sense because you need a certain amount to be able to mix things properly.
No, you can drop the blender size.
Oh, okay.
So this blender is a specific size.
Right, gotcha.
That one, we have another blender there that's much smaller. And the first blender, the ribbon blender, doesn't make that much of a difference because you have this big, like 4-foot ribbon, and all the blending is at the bottom, where that ribbon turns, pushes the material out, and the other material goes in. So there's a lot of leeway in that blender as far as filling it or underfilling. The type of blender like this, there is not.
So you got to use the right machine for the right job.
Yeah, you have to have experience in knowing how to blend this. You can't just buy a blender and say, okay, we're going into production and we're going to start blending material, because you will end up with a product that is not consistent through all the tubs. If I have a tub of, let's say, Muscle Major or MRP, which has a multivitamin in there, I want to make sure that vitamin B12 is in every single scoop of every single tub, so that everybody gets it. That's not always easy to do. Sometimes we'll have to do go do something like this one.
You're gonna pre-blend it before you put it in the...
Exactly, you saw this last summer here. So
Yeah.
pre-blend, we might take that multivitamin mix, which is probably this much as a whole, goes into that 60 cubic foot blender you saw when we first walked in, which is all protein. We're
Right.
trying to put this much vitamin minerals into that huge 60 cubic foot blender. So we might pre-blend it here into protein, we might go from here into a second pre-blend and larger, and then into there. So there's a whole system that we'll follow to make sure at the end we have a homogeneous blend. No matter what happens in that blender, everything's the same.
You've made things hard on yourself because you have a lot of complex, multi-ingredient products with doses all over the place,
Right.
and then you got to put that together properly.
Yeah,
So.
it all comes down to SOPs, standard operating procedures. So everything we're talking about, from all that testing I talked about, and sanitation logs, and all these sign-offs, 1, 2, that's all not just me talking and me saying stuff and then we walk out, we're not doing it. It's all in an SOP, a standard operating procedure, which means it's written down, it's in a log, it's dated, it's signed off by QA, QC, and management. Anything that changes on that particular operation has to get redone, a new version has to come out. Now every single employee in the company who has anything to do with that one operation has to be trained in that operation,
Right.
documented that they're trained with an expiration of how long that training lasts. So that's when you can do that and you can validate that, then you have an operation as complex as this is.
Right.
And when it starts in the beginning of the process, it's the same every time at the finish, no matter how many times
And
you
it's
do
all
it.
documented. Yeah, we have another video called Our Supplements Regulated where we talked about this in 2016 and it still all applies and everything. So for all the details on that, we'll link back to that video because it's always fascinating to see how much paperwork you have. All documented. The FDA comes and asks some questions. You have it all listed down and the training and yada yada. It keeps going.
Okay, so in any of these manufacturing rooms, you're normally not allowed in there as an outsider. It's only the people who are actually manufacturing on the floor at that particular time. When they're in there, they have to be fully gowned. You have to be fully gowned out here as well. I'm pulling this down so we can talk in the hallway only. I would never do that when I go into the room.
Right.
Normally, nobody's allowed to do that. We're now going to go into a processing room where we make the capsules. You'll be able to pull this down because we shut that room down. All we're doing is encapsulating maltodextrin.
We got some fake supplements coming there.
Yeah, it's just a practice run so you can actually see what we're doing. You weren't able to do that last time, so we set this up for you. So this whole encapsulation process is something that we're really, really proud of. So we have a Cap Plus machine here and a previous Zanazi machine. And one will do 120,000 caps an hour, and the others do 40,000 caps an hour.
In an hour.
Now, one person, once it's set up, can operate all three machines and get 200 caps an hour at one time. We do not use those except for once or twice, literally a year. Actually, 2 of them are for sale. We haven't even sold them yet. Because to do that kind of speed, we have to use excipients. We have to add inactive chemicals into it, like mag stearate, silver dioxide, titanium dioxide, stearic acid. All these chemicals are not for the customer's benefit, but for the ease and efficiency of manufacturing. Back in 2001, we banned that from our facility.
Right.
So I don't know if some are considered toxic, some are carcinogen. I'm not in that argument. There are bloggers out there can fight that back and forth. I've eliminated it all out of my product.
You just don't have it.
In my capsules, there's the active ingredient only and the capsule shell itself. The only time we break that is if an ingredient is too small to fill the capsule.
Yeah, like an
microdose, like Absorb, like B12, where it won't fill the bottom of the capsule. So then we'll have to blend it in to like an organic rice powder, so we can make volume on that.
Yeah.
So that's the only time. So we're going to go in here now.
Let's make some malto.
So now, you guys come in. So the process here is a little different because this is a semi-automatic process. That means one person is standing in front of this machine all day long operating it. The difference is that this machine will get about 30 to 50,000 capsules a day, as opposed to the other machines that get 40 to 120,000 capsules an hour. At max, on a really good running material, we can get about 12,000 caps an hour off this, so we will get a little higher. But there's a major difference of efficiency, plus it takes an operator full time to run this machine. The way it works is we have these 2 rings right here. This is called the rectifier. The capsules are up in here. Hold on one sec. The capsules are loaded down into here. Then we'll take this off, which separates the rings. The top of the capsule, I think you might be able to see, is in there. The bottom of the capsule is in the bottom. This will get put to the side. The bottom of the capsule will go on on here. I'm going to screw this up because I know
You can't do everything in the company.
we're now filling the capsule. And the next process is to scrape it even with the top. Now that process is exactly the same that goes on our fully automated machines, except the mechanical blade comes down and does it. What we're doing here is we're making sure we fill the entire bottom of the capsule completely.
And that is always a standard measurement. Like,
So we have to do it in formulation. We have to figure out the formula, match to a certain capsule size of 0001224 and then work within the limits of the speed of these turntables and the speed of the auger to get that exact dosage into the capsule. So that's the whole process that's done in the lab prior. Okay, to make sure we have that, every 10 or so rings, you've got to take 10 of the capsules off here, bring it out to another validated scale, weigh those 10, divide it out, log it on the sheet, it has to be within a 1% plus or minus tolerance. Otherwise, QA gets pulled in, we have to shut down, and we have to figure out what's going on.
Right.
The third part of the process is, you put some rings on here, okay? Okay, now you can see go. If you look closely, you'll see the capsule going in. It's cool. I don't think we've ever done this before. We shut down a room like this. So
I love it, yeah.
We kind of explain it from the outside. You can see them all ready filled. The reason we're using maltodextrin is it's dirt cheap and we're going to throw it out.
Right,
Plus
yeah.
it has to run very easy. If we put an herb in here that's hard to run, it'll be a mess. I'm going to show you that in a minute.
Yeah, you see that in there.
So now it goes on the second. That's the whole process here. You can see, very labor intensive to make these. But my customer now gets a capsule that has nothing in it but active ingredients. Now what we're going to do is slide it in. Pneumatically it gets pressed. The capsules get pushed together. And it gets dumped out. Now when this room is totally set up, instead of going to a barrel, it's going to go in something called a capsule polisher, and I'll show you what that is in a moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys can make sure that you're all gowned up now. Put this back on. Yep. Okay. So this is what I like to show people on a tour. If you look here, I can't open this because it's actually in. We're doing men's multivitamin here. Take a close look at the mess. Notice how it's yellow, so now you can see them. Look at the white pipes coming out of the wall, some of the ceiling tiles, the floor. Wow. That is the actual fine powders that are going around in there, okay? This room, when this is done, this machine has to be totally broken down. The entire room will have to be sanitized and brought back to a complete sanitized condition.
How do you do that? Like with a massive hose?
No, the machine is taken into a cleaning room.
Oh, okay.
It's taken apart, everything is sanitized, and then somebody comes in here and they break down all the pipes, they sanitize with alcohol, the floors, the ceilings, the window, everything is done, and
So it's a very serious thing to do a run, is what it seems like, especially if something as messy
well,
as
it's going to
that.
have to end up looking like this, but this room is already in process. You can even see the white powder because they're doing caffeine in here. So this doesn't look dirty, but if you look at the red handle on the hose, you can see it already covered with white powder.
Yeah.
So you're not seeing a clean room here. This is everything's in use, so I can't show you what it's back to. But that's, I mean, it's very labor intensive. It's about a 2-hour cleanup between every single batch. And what we have to do is, even if we're running a batch for 2 days, we'll continue it. We have to shut down at night. If it goes past 3 days, we have to shut down, re-sanitize.
Even for the same run? Like
Yeah, over a weekend we shut down and re-sanitize. So Friday night we're spending the last few hours just shutting the whole facility down, cleaning everything up, and we have to reopen. It's like reopening the facility every Monday.
Right.
This room here is what happens normally in here, because we're just rebuilding the facility. It's not fully set up. But the capsules will be dumped into there from that barrel, okay? And this is temporary. The first machine is a metal check machine. And that machine will check each capsule, see if there's any metal in it. If it catches any, it'll knock it out. And then it goes into this polisher here, and that's what I said is on each line. And that will polish the capsules, take that excess powder off, separate any broken capsules.
Right.
Normally that'll be on the line, and metal check will be on the line that I showed you up front.
Yeah, just not with our fake maltodextrin.
What's that?
Just not with our fake maltodextrin.
Oh, no, not here. It's not, the facility's not fully set up.
Right, yeah.
So once it's all put together, it's going to run. This room becomes another encapsulation room.
Right.
Now you asked the question, and you can't smell in here. There's nothing up normal for that smell. You asked about that smell. People will come into the facility and say, "Wow, it smells amazing here. Or they might walk back here and say, oh my God, it smells horrible back here. We're making thermal fuel. This hallway will have cayenne pepper going up everybody's nose. So you think to yourself, well, if I'm smelling it, that means I have contamination in this room, and that's true. But this is a hallway. What's happening here is each one of these production rooms has a certain amount of positive air pressure in them. So these doors are sealed, but not totally airtight. So when we're making a product, those heavy powders are sinking down, but the fines are floating around and come out of here into the hallway.
They're pushed out.
So they get pushed out here, but they can't go into here because this room also has positive air pressure, forcing those fines out here. So when we're walking through this hallway, we're catching all of that. Then the returns take it up where the air gets scrubbed clean and comes back down.
Right.
So that's what's happening in the hallways.
Is that GMP or is that NutraBio going above?
No, that's pretty much standard in the industry. I don't know if everybody does it, but that's what you want because if you're doing something like DHEA, you don't want those fines. You don't want an allergen floating through the air, getting into another one and going down in there. So it should be fairly standard in the industry, I would hope. So this is just where we print our labels. We roll all our labels in-house. We print them here, we cut them here, they go back on rolls and go back outside. This area is not set up, but this is all brand new back here. So we all gowned up, but for most of the facility that we were gowned in, we really did not need to be gowned up because the facility is not fully operational and open yet. It's not in GMP mode. This particular room, you notice I'm not going to take my mask off on because this is a sub room that's not connected to the rest. This is our pharmacy room that we were talking about. This is now in operation. We're starting to get some of our blends together so when we open fully, we can start processing and blending. This is the area, so you can see here, this is all one batch of material here. There's never two lots or two batches allowed in here. All of this is being weighed out in that 5-step process where two people are checking each step and everything is happening. So at the end, we'll have the exact material, exact weight. That's going to all be shrunk wrapped. The labels will come off. New labels will go on because they're no longer specific to the material. Now they're specific to a lot. But you can see what I was talking about. Here's 5 materials. Once those 4 get out of here, they all look the same. And if we don't weigh them exactly right, we're going to have problems down the line. So that's why they're tagged. We know exactly what it is. It's going to get reweighed again once it goes into the weighing room. But this is the process. These are the scales. We have different scales for different types of weights. These scales have to be validated daily.
Yeah, a lot of calibration, all that.
Calibration by third parties. So you see the third party calibration up there.
Guys come in and do that.
So this is the room where we do everything in duplicate, and then we go through that 5-step process when we finish.
Yeah, folks, I can tell you this: if you get the 2019 batch of pre-stimulant-free watermelon flavor, it smells fantastic.
Oh yeah, this is the label that's now converting it from individual ingredients to a final blend.
Right. Oh man, this room smells amazing.
Welcome to Price Plow.